Do you see what's happening?
It was this disruptive insurgency that assaulted the art world's sensitivities in terms of like who's important and why.
You've got a massive volume of transactions happening in a new art space that the traditional art players aren't capturing.
Everything is changing.
It was just a total career changer, and it's amazing to see how empowering it is.
As far as traditional people in the art world, like collectors or dealers, I would have said bafflement is really the word.
High-level digital art, or art made with computers, has been around since, the 60s and 70s.
This is the first time in this digital art revolution that we've been able to actually do proof of ownership on top of that. So this is actually the beginning of digital art revolution.
If you can prove something is digitally scarce or digitally rare, couldn't that be applied to art as well, right? And that was sort of the early beginnings of what became NFTs.
$69 million. Winkleman. Way to go, Winkleman. People.
This is incredible.
When people come to me and reporters want to know, like, tell me about people, I'm like, no, the exciting stories here are that there are artists that normally wouldn't be able to participate. You've got a story like Osinachi, who is able to put his work out there from Nigeria and build his own audience without having to ask permission from anybody.
It's thanks to the NFT space that I've been able to show my work to a wider audience. I've been able to have people who appreciate my work, collect my work. That is why I can do it full time.
I'm Kathryn, a 3D artist based here in Los Angeles. And most recently, I've been exploring the NFT space to see how my personal work can allow me to become a full-time artist.
And now I have the power to literally only take on commercial projects if I want to, which feels crazy. And I love that. Like, you can't be your most creative and conceptual and like baller self if you are worried about the bills.
프리랜서 상업 일러스트레이터로 9년 정도를 살고 있었어요. 근데 지금은 그런 상업 외주 작업들을 완전히 끝낼 수 있게 됐다는 거. 그게 가장 커다란 변화예요.
I spent 2 months drawing 200 plus traits. To be honest, I didn't know what Ethereum even was. It just became very fun more than anything.
You've got a way to legitimize, document that this is a piece of work. It has been created by me, and it's forever.
So if I'm building work that exists within the computing space, how do I make sure that that work lasts my lifetime? I've been in the space for about 26 years. So it's been fascinating to see sort of the history of digital art. My entire life's catalog can be fit on this one thing, whereas I would need about 1 million of these.
It used to keep me up at night before NFTs that I was engaging my work in a medium that was so easily copied and abused. Like, every time I sent a lead transfer, I felt anxiety. Now that there's NFTs, I basically look at it as, birthing my art that people will actually see as rare. And I believe that there is something very powerful in that.
NFTs are basically just an artist's signature on the blockchain, but it's not even a signature. It's just them saying this token represents this art. My name is John Orion Young. I'm known as Joy from Joy World. My neighbor calls me Banana Man. I've been able to build this whole world just strictly with me engaging with collectors directly on the blockchain.
I'm a huge fan of Joy. I believe that I'm his largest collector, actually.
There's no gallery, there's no third party in the middle of the whole conversation or anything. And so I'm always working to make the experience better and better for the collector.
Yeah, the collectors, they're usually pretty great. They usually reach out. They've been probably the more helpful people for me in this space.
You're having patron-like conversations with collectors, and they actually care about your concept.
I'm really happy that my Genesis piece sort of went to someone that actually cares about the art. That gave me confidence in myself to sort of move in the space.
I think it is a massive disruptor in the art market. I think what you will get is online galleries, which the costs are massively reduced, and then hopefully the artist will get more.
As an art historian and a curator, my personal opinion is that digital artists are the most important artists of this generation. I think 100 years from now, when we look back at this generation, we're not going to say, so-and-so invented like a new brushstroke or painting technique, right? We're going to look and say, everyone's lives, from how we date to how we work, everything we do was shifted digitally, right? So who are the artists that are going to stand out from our generation? It'll be the ones that actually best reflect that transition and used computing to make artwork.
These artists are also characterized by their tools. They grew up on Photoshop. The digital brush is native to them.
I'm building this whole world to kind of inspire other artists to build their verses inside the metaverse.
Sounds cliche, but power to change your destiny is really in your own hands. You don't need to be signed to some agency. You don't need a manager. I'm not even thinking about what's going to stop me. I'm thinking about like, what can't I do?
Having interacted with artists, they're such giving people that they injected their ethics, they injected their values into this community.
I understand that everybody's going crazy with how much money is getting thrown around, and there's probably like a lot of reasons for that. If you can just set that aside for a moment and look at the bigger picture of what this means for artists and being able to catalog their career, authenticate their career, is a game changer. Just that alone, game changer.